Hi everyone, welcome to Sketch N Squee, the hopefully ongoing series where I sketch in my digital sketchbook and talk about what is giving me life in fandom lately. This week in particular, I want to talk about how magicians came out of nowhere, stole my heart right from out of my chest, stomped it on the ground, and said, Q and Elliot now rule this bitch. All right, so I've tried to record this before and it got real long, real fast. So we're going to cut to the chase. This show for me was not the greatest. I'll admit for the first season and a half, maybe even 2 seasons, I didn't quite enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I tend to have things playing in the background while I sketch, draw, grade papers, whatever. I need the background noise more than for the content that's playing on the screen. After binging on The Umbrella Academy and rewatching The Haunting of Hill House, I really wanted a team/found family show to follow up on. And Netflix kept on recommending The Magicians to me. And then Twitter, from my peripheral mentions, kept saying, oh, well, The Magicians is a thing, and it's pretty good with representation. So I tried it out, kept it in the background, and the first 2 seasons for me, as I wasn't really paying attention, didn't really catch me. It didn't feel engaging in any way. Looking back, I still have some criticisms that I do think are still valid. For instance, it took a very long time for relationships between characters to feel like they had any weight. The romantic relationships felt oddly random. We knew that we needed to have romance in it and sex in it because it was the edgy Harry Potter, but they didn't feel like they were developing any weight as they went on. So yeah, it's perfectly fine for Katie and Penny to hook up purely because they are hot. But after that initial you're hot, I'm hot, we have great sex, there is nothing that really seems to tie them together at all. And that feels like it characterizes the rest of the relationships within the show for that first season. And I think an even better example of this, outside of the romantic bonds and in terms of the friendship bonds, not really feeling as solid as I would have liked them to be. So, spoiler, Penny dies. And after he dies, there's an entire episode where he is standing around as not quite a ghost, but he is an astral projection of himself because he astral projects himself outside of his body. Then his body dies, so he has nowhere to go back to. So he's technically not a ghost, but his body is dead, right? And he's just standing around. And he's like, people, why are you not sad? Why is no one crying? I'm your friend. Why aren't you sad that I'm dead? Right? And I think that entire episode perfectly encapsulates why I never felt anything about the relationships, the so-called bonds that they were forming, because it felt just very loose, casual acquaintances who routinely fuck up together. They fuck up regularly enough to the point where the world is in danger. Yeah. Now, with the benefit of 4 seasons under their belt, the characters feel a lot more grounded. Their relationships feel more solid. Individually and, within the group, they all have much more history to call upon for weighty storylines. So I can admit to being a cynical shipper. I don't try to become emotionally invested in any of these ships becoming canon. So in season 1, when Elliot, Margot, and Q fell into bed with each other and oopsie-daisied a threesome, I said to myself, edgy for the sake of edge? Maybe. Probably. But now that I look back and I have a little bit of perspective and I have season 4 to crush me into the earth, I do think that the show was doing something subtle with developing the relationships, the platonic relationships between the groups. And it really needed that more than it needed the romance. I don't think it was a cynical move on their part. I think it was very smart to focus on doing character development and platonic stuff. The long breakup of Alice and Q felt unnecessary at the time, but I think it needed to be put in there. It needed some cushion, especially since it told us so much about Quentin and Alice's personalities. Quentin will love you until the very bitter end. He will not give up on you. Alice will drop you in a hot minute. She has a certain standard that she needs people to rise to. And once you fall, you had that one chance and now you're gone. And I think that's very telling just for their own specific characterizations. That was important for us to see. Was it a long, drawn out, excruciating breakup to watch? Yes. But it was worth it. And it also perfectly mirrors the sort of background, practically instantaneous relationship that Quentin and Elliot find themselves in. They literally fall in love with each other, have a whole life, live a whole life within a day. Now, I'm not sure what that juxtaposition actually means, but it is a fascinating thing to have. Now, I honestly don't know what's in the future for this. I am not someone who necessarily cares about canonical validation of a ship. So, to me, it doesn't really matter if the show, decides to tie them up real pretty at the end and have them ruling in Fillory for the rest of their lives and being super married to each other in a perfect AU that if I ever have the time to sit down and actually write, I would actually want to have a triumvirate of Elliot, Quentin, and Margot being super married to each other and being bosses in Fillory. That would be something that in my wildest dreams I'd have the time to sit down and write. But really, with the way that this show is going, I have a feeling that there will be no happy couples, no long-standing couples until the show is ready to end. Because for all of the magic and the gods and the timey-wimey shenanigans, this show is basically a soap opera. It's Charmed. It's The Vampire Diaries. It's Pretty Little Liars. Whatever. The primary conflict in the show is the relationship drama. And it's not going to change anytime now. I would be delighted if I were wrong, but yeah, no, I don't think that we're going to get any sort of happy resolution to the Quentin Elliot relationship anytime soon, especially with Elliot's little possession problem that he's having right now. At my most pessimistic, this show could just let this Elliot Quentin thing fade into the background. And I can see that being a story that could be told, right? So Elliot missed his chance when Quentin extended this offer to him, when they got their memories back from the time that raised a kid together, lived and died together. And then Elliot rejected that offer. that could have just been, okay, so Quentin has learned where his limits are in terms of like how far he's willing to extend love and how long he's willing to wait for someone to return his love. That would be interesting, that would be valid, and I would hate it. I would hate it. Or, you know, someone can die at the end of season 4. One or both of them. Sure. But regardless of the dark plans that the showrunners have for us, I will always have Fic and my never to be penned AUs that exist in my brain. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble about the magicians. I have no idea if I will be doing another entry into the Sketch and Squee series or if I'll be talking about the magicians again. Probably. The season isn't done yet. At the time of this recording, season 4, episode 7 just premiered. I guess if there's any more like Quentin, Elliot drama that destroys my mind and I need some sort of like venue so that I don't like get murdered by my IRL friends, I'll probably like, you know, use this medium to like squee into. But until then, thanks for keeping me company and peace out.